Hi, Joe.
Hi, Farisa.
Thank you for being here in Gdansk from Australia. So, could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name's Jo. I'm from Sydney, Australia, born and raised. Been traveling now for, gosh, 18 months. I graduated uni last year and decided to move overseas and get a new job full time. Dad's Polish, mum's Australian, and I have an older brother.
So, why did you choose Poland?
But I mean, that's the one question I get asked a lot, and it's always curious, not judgmental, but it's nice because Australia is like a paradise, you know. But at first, it was because of affordability. Australia is very expensive, housing and accommodation and like that. But then on a deeper scale, I guess it was because I've got family here. My wujek is in Warszawa. I've got family in Czestochowa, and I wanted to learn the language authentically.
How does daily life in Gdansk compare to life in Australia? What's the big difference?
I mean, it was a big sort of change. I mean, we don't have the massive shift in weather or climate.
Okay.
So all year long, everyone's active. People are out and about doing things. They're going on trips. They're camping. They're going to the beach. They're going for a road trip. Like everyone's doing something, young or old. So my weekends were sailing and working in a bar and going to festivals and I was sailing with people that were kids, 16, 18 year olds up to in the 80s, 90s.
Okay.
And so everyone's active doing stuff and it's very fast paced and there's traffic and there's just mayhem. And then coming to Gdansk, it's chill and it's slower
Quiet.
and people are taking walks in the park and it's still sort of the same principle but it's at a slower pace.
Which one you prefer?
I kind of like the middle.
Okay.
But it's definitely had to sort of adjust my expectations to what's possible in this city.
Okay. What's your favorite Polish food? Do you have any?
I have a lot. Probably miseria. It's easy to make. Otherwise, I made it with yogurt my first week here, which, but I could swim in it. I love it. And those cutlets with the
Schabowy?
what do they call it? Cutlets with cheese and garlic in the middle, like a creamy sort of paste in the middle, and you put it in the oven and it melts, and it's
I forgot the name in Polish, but I know what you're talking about.
So good. That's my guilty pleasure. Like Biedronka, 6-pack in the oven, and go do some stuff for 40 minutes and come back. And
Have you faced any challenges living in Poland, like language or cultural norms?
yeah.
Did you have any cultural shock, even though your dad is Polish?
I guess. Yeah. I mean, my dad's a gossiper, so that wasn't a culture shock. But I guess it's the conservative nature sort of shook me. So it's. I remember like when I was wearing shorts a lot, shorts like up to
Yeah.
past mid thigh, and some of the older women on the tram were looking at me, just blatantly staring, and I would just stare at them, and I was just like, why?
I was thinking that old people are the
No,
same everywhere.
they'll come up and talk to you about it, or they'll make a comment, or they won't look. They'll look for a bit and then they'll look away. Or it's diverse in the response, but here it's just this one response everyone has.
But what was your biggest challenge to adapt life in Poland?
Probably the shops being closed on Sunday.
Oh, that's the topic we need to discuss. Yes,
they're open 4 days on Sunday every year, but no one knows the exact date, and if they do, it's the day of, and it's I don't that was the biggest, because then it was going out all day Saturday and going, oh gosh, I've got to be home before 10 p.m. so I can do my shopping for the week and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, we were discussing with Ben. Hi, Ben. So we were discussing with Ben about this. Do you think it should be open? But I have kind of mixed feelings for this opening Sunday's shop. The people who works in the shops, I think this is fair for them, so they have life also for the Sunday. But on the other hand, as you said, this makes our life difficult in a way.
I think it should be sort of in between. It should be 1 day a month. It's open on a Sunday because it's the family time and it's the preparing for the following week time for all the workers. So in Australia we have time and a half. So So and your wages plus half of those wages on Saturday.
Okay.
And then on Sunday it's double time, so you get double wages on Sunday. So it could be something like that. If it's open on those Sundays, maybe. But I don't know the way it works here.
I don't think so, because in Europe people are not into money. That's what I was thinking as well. You cannot,
Yes.
trick them with the money, I think.
They see right through it.
Yes, I think it's still you get like 150%, or if you work on Saturday and Sunday, but still they don't prefer to work. So we need to come up with something else.
Yeah. But yeah, language, of course, and the pronunciation and the weird accents, like the like an and then a little worm hanging off, and you go, what the hell's that doing there?
What's your impressions of Poland's work culture and work-life balance?
So much better. I mean, you have so when I started in teaching, I was staying back 3 hours after school, finishing up on stuff that I couldn't get throughout the day. Whereas here, I'm able to leave half an hour after school, 3:30, and I'm able to go home and just completely switch off. Whereas in Australia, my mind was always on working. I would wake up in the middle of the night and have an idea and have to like write it down.
Okay.
It was constantly on my mind. Whereas maybe it's an age thing or maturity, or I don't know what, but I'm able to switch off, and I think it's because I have enough time in the day to get everything done. And with teaching, we don't have two teachers in the classroom in Australia. We're on our own, so we're doing everything. And in our lunch breaks, we're doing everything as well.
But how many kids do you have in the classroom in Australia?
So I've worked in schools where I've had 16, and I've worked in schools where I've had 78. But that was an open floor classroom, so it was 3 teachers.
Now, if you don't want to answer Chris' question, it's okay, I can cut it. How did you like working in Gdansk?
No, I loved it, and I truly didn't know what a great, fantastic school it is until I started having interviews, and I saw how the interviewers were explaining their school, and me going to some of the places and thinking, BISG does this better, or just the fact that they let me know early enough that I won't have a job next year and gave me more than enough time to start interviewing and setting up my CVs. I know you feel it when you go to work. Like Sunday night, I'm really excited to go back to work. You know that throughout the day we chat to each other, we check in with each other, and that's the main thing.
How did you find the job in Gdansk, or how did you find your new job? So can you give us some tips and tricks?
Sure. So I was actually originally looking at England. And there's a few agencies I was looking at, like Vibe was really good. And then I came across this one called Teachers Horizon. And I thought, it's very popular, but I wonder how much you have to pay. And it was a free service. So basically you make a profile and you apply to different schools on the website. So it's like the region and go for it. And then once you're interested, they link you up, link you with a sort of consultant who'll interview you and get your interests and get your experience and background and what you want out of the job. And then they'll link you up with the schools and provide tips on what the lifestyle's like, safety. So my biggest concern is safety overseas. Like Gdansk is very safe.
Yeah.
And that was a massive difference to Australia. You always have strange people any time of the day on the trains, whereas here, 4 a.m, midnight, you don't have that. So it was a good, positive. So Teachers Horizon was great. They connected me with Robert, a great principal, and he gave me a job offer almost 8 hours after the job interview.
Oh, really? That's quick.
I mean, yeah, look at me.
This is the credit for it.
But it was an interview with the principal.
Okay.
He knew what he wanted, and he offered me a job. Whereas other schools interviewing in Italy, I had to go through 2 people before I got to the principal, and even then I didn't get an offer. So you have to sort of watch out for those kind of steps people take. So you don't know if they're. And then I got the other end of the stick in this way was I just set my CV directly to all these schools around, Czech Republic, Germany, Slovakia, Greece, Italy, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, just all the schools I could find. Did I say Germany? I did, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
And Poland as well. and majority of schools aren't looking in April to June. Most of them are last minute looks in sort of August, September,
Yeah.
which is where I got taken in, luckily. So Facebook has great groups for different countries. So you can say, I'm looking for a teaching job. Are there any sites to get involved in? So that can give you more of a direct search. Yeah, email directly. You don't know what will happen. And do what you can to make yourself not available to them, but sort of know exactly what you want, because they'll ask about salaries. And this job in Prague, I had to go through 2 interviews, a school visit over the weekend,
Oh,
and
did you?
a spontaneous third interview with the leadership
Wow.
team before they offered. And then the contract came a couple of weeks later, but it was sort of, you're my top choice. I'm not going to accept any other job if you give me one, and
Oh,
got locked in.
cool. So are you happy?
Happy.
So, Joe, do you feel any homesickness despite the fact that you have family in Poland? So, but still.
Yeah. Well, because I was living at home with my parents until I was, what's last year, 28. So a very long time to live with my parents, and then suddenly I hit the ground running, move overseas, graduate, first full-time job.
Oh, wow.
A lot of,
All at once.
yeah, milestones all at once. But I have to do things in the deep end, otherwise I'll never do them. So the first sort of 2 months here, I was sort of distracted with setting up my home and getting into routines. And then after about 2 months, it sort of geographically hit me. Oh my gosh, they're so far away.
Yes.
And I remember one sort of medium burst of tears and just panic, and I sort of was able to dissolve it quickly with putting on music and just doing my crazy dancing I like to do. And then one bad one that I had was probably, when was it? Maybe a month after that. It wrecked my Sunday night, and then I had to take school off Monday because I was just so distraught.
I remember that
It
day.
was like a whole full body panic attack where none of my strategies were helping. FaceTiming my parents didn't help, and it sort of took a meeting with the principal to sort of come to realize that this is part of the experience.
Part of the journey, yeah.
That you're going to feel like whiplash of emotions, and it's like a, what do you call it, that pendulum? You're going to have,
it was like a roller coaster. I always say
you're going to have feelings of awesomeness and excitement, and then it's going to be, oh my gosh, why did I do this to myself? And I realized I have to give myself 7 days to sort of get myself back to normal and not make any rash decisions. And do I feel the same? No, it was just an emotional dysregulation and
emotional swings.
Yeah. I like that kind of dance.
Up and down.
We're over here.
Yes. What do you like and dislike about Poland?
This was actually quite small. So I love the food. It's filling, it's carbohydrates, but oh my gosh, comfort food. It does make you a bit fat, but you do put on weight, but it's good for winter. But it's like mother's hug, just
well, potato all the time.
Potato in different ways.
Yes,
mashed,
exactly.
I don't know, roll.
Mashed, salad, boiled, everything.
I had these tiny fries up north, like near Hell, that were millimeters thin. It was, I don't know, it was very strange. I thought, this is like hair, fried hair. What else? I love the greenery, so just this.
Look at this.
This in the heart of the city, in all the cities, and you've got lakes and you've got beaches, and I haven't been to Missouri yet, but I imagine that's also beautiful. What else? Oh, and the climate. So you get all 4 seasons properly. You get the snow, you get the coolness, you get the heat, and you get the other one. What's the other one?
Autumn.
The leaves. I loved that. I sort of loved with the children at school sort of what my childhood would have looked like if my dad never left Poland. So, playing, making snow angels with the kids and throwing leaves at each other and like, having proper climates. Because Australia, we have heat, a little bit of heat, cool. We have Poland's autumn, and we have just in betweens.
So you don't have snow?
We have snow in sort of the mountain areas, so sort of Tasmania, that island. We have in our peaks have some snow, but
Not
not
really.
much.
And what you don't like it in Poland?
I guess because I'm taking Polish lessons properly, and it's a very complex language. I mean, English is hard, I'll give you that, but Polish is so complex, and I love learning it, and I love laughing at the pronunciation and having fun with that. But it's a very I don't like that it's so difficult, but I also like that it's so difficult because it when I eventually reach some sort of proficiency, it'll be worth it. It'll be like,
Okay.
oh,
You will relieve.
oh.
Yes.
Oh, and also like the likes is the history. I mean, as brutal as the history has been, they've powered through and they've liberated themselves, just thrived and survived. And what's that word? Expanded? Or?
Expanded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, good word. Yeah.
Joe, what's the difference between Poles and Aussies?
Aussies in Australia, they're more nasal, so learning Polish, it's a lot of whereas Australians are nah, back of the throat, mate. Very
I have to admit something because in the beginning I had really hard times to understand you.
You're not the only one. It was all around. I was like, I'm the one with the weird accent. You kidding?
Yes.
What? And I had, Agnieszka would mock H2O. Oh
Yeah.
no, Cleo. Is the cafe open? She nailed it. But I guess what it comes down to is the humor and the easygoing nature.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's not being unbothered, but it's just stuff happens and it happened. Okay, what are we doing next? It's just that thing of, and not, I guess it's sort of half maturity, but also just we're a very easygoing nation.
Like chill.
So for example, we had flooding, and a lot of people were buying kayaks and kayaking in the floods, and just it happened, and this is how I'm going to enjoy it.
I cannot imagine Poles doing the same.
Or we had bushfires and we went sailing, and we go, oh, we can't see the coast.
That's actually a good thing, seeing the positive thing. Like,
yeah, and
you have different approach to life then.
Yeah, and it's also we have such drastic fluctuations of weather, of not the drastic of cold snow, but of just heat, and we have fun with it. So the humor comes into it, and it's too hot to walk. Okay, we're going to run across in our bare feet.
Okay.
We're going to walk in bare feet in the supermarket because the floor's nice and cold, and that's socially acceptable. Or we're going to wear barely anything when we go shopping.
I want to see you in the drug.
I don't know if I'll get kicked out, and those grates where it don't look comfortable to walk on. But it's also just every interaction you have. It's a nod, or it's in the car, and it's everyone you see, or it's hey, how you going? Yeah, good. How are you? That's it. Have a good one. And that's the interaction with strangers.
Okay.
Or it's my favorite is sort of being stuck in traffic and serenading people next to you. I call it karaoke. So you put your window down, you
really
sing to them, and they can't go anywhere. So it's embarrassment. So it's taking the mickey out of it, of everything, if you can. And that lacks you. So I've made some jokes here. I think, oh, I shouldn't have said that because now their face is offended. I have to explain myself. Like, I'm so sorry.
Yes. That's the best part to explain.
Oh gosh. And the diversity, we have so many. I mean, people from all sort of countries move to Australia, so we have such diversity of food, of traditions, everything. But in Poland, we don't have much of that. Yeah, conservative. So I do miss that.
This is again spontaneous question. Would you like to move back to Australia one day, or you gonna like travel all over the world?
I don't know, because this is pre-COVID. It feels like the archaic age. But pre-COVID, I went to Tanzania for 3 weeks, and I said I'd love to come back here and teach. And so eventually, yes, I'll move back to Australia and maybe settle down. I don't know. I'm very open-minded about what the future may look like. But you know that I'm an offshore sailor?
I know.
Yeah, so I also want to go into that because Europe's got, Australia, we have fleets of maybe 100 boats. In Europe, they have 300 boats minimum in big races. So I want to tap into that as well. And that's been hard being in Gdansk, and it will even be harder in Prague with no sea. Just a river. But yeah, I can see myself living in Europe or out of Australia for the next sort of 10 years or so.
Okay.
Maybe 10 years. Yeah.
Oh, this is like an interview question. Where do you see yourself after 5 years?
That's a hard one because you're either sort of framing or just designing the answer for yourself truthfully, or what they want, like sort of, for lack of a better phrase, like
Yeah.
kissing their ass.
Uh-huh.
And so I always be truthful. Like I don't know what I'll be in 5 years, but I like what I'm doing. I like where I'm going,
Exactly.
and whatever happens.
Yeah,
happens.
this will lead you somewhere.
Yeah,
eventually.
and at the moment it's, if the war in Ukraine gets worse, I'll have to hop on a flight back home,
Mm-hmm.
or if another round of COVID comes, I'll have to go back home again.
Exactly.
But at the moment, yeah, it's pretty good.
Life again.
Life.
What advice would you give to people who wants to move abroad, live abroad, study abroad?
Yeah. I mean, some people have that travel bug in them, and if you have the means to do it, do it. Have a plan A, have a plan B, have some rainy day cash where if you get overcharged with luggage, which happens, or you get stuck somewhere, do it, you won't regret it. I did have a small fear of, FOMO from, friends getting married, or
Having children, buying a house.
Having children, buying the house, this
yes.
the 5 steps to success.
Yes.
And also, if you're making a big decision, wait 7 days to see if you still feel the same in 7 days. So if it's what country you're going to live in, or what apartment you're going to rent, or not clothes, that's a very small minor one, or which bank you're going to be in, or schools, or whatever it is. See if you can give yourself 7 days to feel, accept the decision and all that comes with it, consequences and risks, and never make an emotional decision, because that'll just backfire. Keep your expectations low. So you come with your experiences,
definitely,
and your ideas about what your life's going to look like. And I think I had about 3 months maximum of sort of, not depression, but just of, I want to do this, and this, but no one's available.
Oh, yeah.
Or I want to go and kick a ball in the park, but people don't want to do that, or people don't play sport, or whatever it is. So I have to adjust it and fit to the same thing.
And especially you came in September, right? And then one of the most depressive moments for the Gdansk. Then the autumn comes, the weather, it gets darker very early.
I didn't think the dark would affect me so much, because in Sydney, when it's dark, I come alive. I'm like, oh, there's so much energy.
No,
and then here it's 4 p.m. and you go, oh,
exactly.
I'm Netflixing.
When you leave house, it's dark. When you come back to the house, it's again dark.
And then now it's dark. It's not even dark at 10 p.m.
Yes.
What is happening? I want to feel tired, but I can't exit.
Thank you, Joe.
That's okay.
Yes. Thank you for coming.
Okay.
I loved it. I hope you enjoyed as well.
Thank you. I did.
Bye.